The spirit was good. Underground, we would swear at each other, curse each other, and then when we leave work, we go home and we buy each other a pint. That's the way work goes. That's the spirit underground. You get on with your job, and then you pat each other on the back and say, we didn't do bad, did us, boys? A chap will feel a bit proud, because he walks down through there and think, well, I put this here ton layer. And you go on a bit farther and think, well, 50% of the ore of this mine is coming out a level I put here myself. I know the mining company, your managers, your engineers, all planned it, paid for it, schemed it up, but it's still the person who actually did it, drilled the holes, blasted the rock and moved it, put the hole there. He's the chap who really feels probably the proudest about it, because he's just like climbing a mountain.
3,000 feet down, the deepest part of South Crofty Mine. Here, Jimmy Clements finished a development project unparalleled in Crofty's history, opening up 4 new levels of the mine. Now the management plan a big investment so Jimmy can go deeper still. The men have to work in pairs. And these are the machines to do the excavation job. The huge drills are called tamrocks. So big, every bit has to be taken down in small components and built underground where it's needed. Constant draining of the water sump is vital. Flooding isn't common at Crofty, but Jimmy knows that there are dangers.
If a pump goes off, even 300 feet above you, that water, gravity, everything runs downhill. So you get lots of water problems, you have lots of small problems. But you overcome them daily. There's nothing you could plan on, you have to do everything daily as it happened. You can never plan your setbacks. The only thing you could plan is your targets.
Blasting a way forward is a skill acquired by Cornishmen over centuries. To demolish the hard rock of granite and tin, the holes have to be selected so as much ground as possible is broken when the explosives detonate. In the case of the Cornish miner, it's down to instinct, a talent which has taken them all over the world, Australia, America and South Africa. It's a well-known saying, where there's a hole in the earth, there's a Cornishman at the bottom of it. Jimmy Clements, now a shift boss at Crofty, turns to market gardening while waiting for investment to come to the mine. He's been around long enough to accept that mining is unpredictable. Like thousands before, he falls back on the good life for that reason.
A lot of those old miners in the old days worked underground all day and then went over on their little bit of small hole in the evening and grew a few vegetables. Theirs was a case of necessity, ours is a case of enjoyment. We do get rid of a little bit of surplus at the mine, just to help people along a little bit, because it does them good to eat a bit of fresh air.
Still moving hand in hand, they burrowed like
Although production techniques developed dramatically, Cornish mines closed in the doldrums of the 80s. One of the biggest, Wheal Jane, had millions invested yet still shut down. Now, Crofty's future depends on the public's attitude to a share issue.
I just hope that for everybody's sake and for the history of Cornwall as well, that it carries on. You know, it's just a very sad situation. It was very sad for Wheal Jane to shut at that time. There was a lot of upset, you know. You go back 100 years and Cornish mining has always been up and down, they've always had their problems. We seem to sail through it, you know. But I think they've got such a good workforce that they pull together and get through it, you know, forget it and get on with it.
Through history, mine captains have been notorious leaders.
The old mine captain who used to work here and used to have a very strict time schedule for riding down the shaft. And the mine captain was a bit late one morning and he was in Redruth, and along come past him was a car with two of his miners in. So they stopped and gave him a lift to work, and he got in here about 7 o'clock. The miners, when they got changed, when they came out of the changing room, he said, "Sorry boys, I'll have to send you home, you're late. You've missed the 7 o'clock cage." "But we've just given you a lift in here," they said. "Well, that's too late. I'm a mine captain, I'm allowed to be late. You're not. Home you go."
For the Tamrock men, the progress of such an important project is monitored by today's mine captain himself. The fact that he's worked his way up from the bottom through all phases of hard rock mining helps him keep on the side of determined men.
I would like to think I'm on both sides. I've come up from the contracting side. I know how the men feel. I also know how the management have to operate the mine. It doesn't always go down in favour. Unfortunately, that's what keeps the place going. What judgments are made for the mine don't necessarily suit the individual person. Unfortunately, that's it. That's the way survival is.
The quality of the tin is the important factor, and above ground, the old mill at Wheal Jane is used to assess whether South Crofty's excavations are going to be profitable. Deciding whether they're in business or not is down to an American-born woman. Her style of analysing the amount of tin coming out of the mine is part of the female revolution of Crofty in the 90s.
I'm the shift assayer at Wheal Jane. I deal with South Crofty tin. And the sample I'm doing right now is called P1. And it's 0.1, meaning it's coming from South Crofty. I put this in the Tima mill. It's a sample. Put a little soap in it to get the grinding perfect. I grind it to get the consistency of the tin right. I grind it at what they call a Tima mill. It makes horrible noises. This will tell me the tin content of the ore that's coming into South Crofty right now. Right now it's about 1% tin. It's got other elements in it also. And I'm like the messenger girl. I tell everybody good news or bad news and how the mill's doing. I put it into this nice little disc and I press it, and I do this for 12 samples, and we do it 3 times a day per shift. Then I x-ray it.
For potential shareholders, it's good news. The ratios of tin are high.
South Crofty has a lot to do with the history of Cornwall. There's always been tin mining in Cornwall, and it's part of who we are, really. I consider myself half Cornish because my father's Cornish. So it's just part of our history. It's part of the way of life. We tend to stick with the things that we know, and I think Cornwall knows tin. The guys treat me really well. They sort of play little jokes on me most of the time, you know, and they turn off hose spigots. They turn off the air sometimes. They jump out of dark hiding places late at night, on night shift, especially on Halloween. silly things like that. But usually they really try to make me feel part of them. Sometimes it can be rough. It's not an easy profession for a woman. If I had a chance, I might do it over again another way, but so far it's been quite good.
Like the old days, the men work hard and play hard, together.
I upset Nick yesterday. I beat him at golf, like, you know, so he wasn't too good. And
it's going to be down to luck, that is. Cheers, mate. Yeah.
So that's how it goes. That's it, don't forget it now. We just go home, like, you know, forget it. Back again, start over again tomorrow.
Good looking, stylish, very slim. Phenomenal memory, 22 hours staying power, and many, many other attractive features.
The phone!
I am, of course, referring to the amazing PP800. It's only $19.99 and it's exclusive to People's Phone.
People's Phone, where talk is cheaper. For a free information pack, call 0345 10 11 12.
I'm here to see just how far you can go on a gallon of petrol in this special edition Citroen AX, which gives me time to tell you about sunroof, sports seats, metallic paint, stereo radio cassette, and the free insurance. As for the fuel economy figures, I can't wait to find out.
The Citroen AX Elation, now at the very special price of £5,995.
The Black & Decker Workmate 800 does everything your old Workmate did, but with one important addition. Only the Workmate 800 can clamp large sheets horizontally. The vertical clamping Workmate 800 from Black & Decker. The possibilities are endless.
Andrex Ultra challenges Europe in England. Quick to absorb, Andrex Ultra is better than conventional kitchen roll. It's strong, even when wet.
Good gracious!
Nothing absorbs quicker and better than Andrex Ultra.
How's a dog supposed to get any kip round here?
New Andrex is even softer, so it's now squeezably soft.
Go on, go on. Yeah, got it. Peace at last.
New Andrex, so soft it's squeezably soft.
Link Skin System Shave Gel. Cares for your skin.
We think it's about time you had a helping hand. By entering the Western Morning News and Bristol and West Building Society competition, you could win a helping hand towards your mortgage interest payments for a year. Plus, we've super household appliances to be won each week. See your Western Morning News for details. Place an order with your newsagent or telephone Plymouth 765567.
Christmas cuts from Plimco. Foster's Lager, cut to $2.65. John Smith's Bitter, cut to $2.65. Buy 3 litres of Carter's Keg Shandy for only 79 pence. And 2 litres of Cresta Lemonade, cut to 19 pence. You'll get more cuts at Plimco this Christmas. The spectacular family pantomime Cinderella, starring Jimmy Cricket as Buttons and Pearl from Last of the Summer Wine as the fairy godmother at the Princess Theatre, Torquay.
It's home to me. I've learned to live with all the mining, and being in mining now for 20 years myself, is part of my life, I suppose. Perhaps in the past we haven't appreciated all the things that went on with the mining, because it did take a lot of people's lives. As someone in the village said the other day, you can look at it as a monument to misery. 60, 70 years ago, as a child, I can remember big areas of land, especially over this side, that was very sparse with greenery because of the arsenic content. The old smelting works, which is over at Salega now, they had proper pits over there which contained the arsenic. And my grandfather, he was one of the last people to be employed by the Cornish Smelting Company. He used to clean out the arsenic pits. Back when I was a child, they had the old Vean tables and the shaky tables system, and all the free tin was taken off the tables, and the rest just went to tailings. Just went down the Red River and out to sea, like, you know. Crofty's got tremendous ore reserves. You'll go through lean times, like all firms, they go through lean times. But I think the future must be quite rosy. I mean, it would be fair to say in the fact that I suppose the biggest asset that Crofty has got is the workforce. They have got a workforce that have stuck by them through thick and thin, and there is a way forward.
At the mill, Dick Johns is the number 2. He's in charge of the refining of the tin. Dozens of shaking tables sift the best of what's been mined in a system that can make or break Crofty's future. Dick himself is renowned for his resemblance to Winston Churchill and is something of a part-time Cornish philosopher.
I suppose I'm like a lot of Cornish people, 2 foot high and 2 foot wide, I say, but I mean, I can help my stature. I was born like that. Winston Churchill, I think, if you look back through the history books, was not a very liked man, what I gather. Generally speaking, he didn't have some of the qualities that I hope I've got. I mean, we certainly don't, you know, rule the roost with a fist. Like, you know, we all work together. I haven't done it for the last 2 years, but for a few years I played the dame in the local pantomime. Yeah, I'm quite busy in the evenings. I'm learning to dance now. I've always, like, got around the floor, but we're actually taking it a bit more serious now, and we're actually learning the steps.
As well as South Crofty, Camborne and Redruth's other survivor is the Holman Climax Choir, whose members live near the mine. So to create interest in Cornish people becoming shareholders, 50 of them go down the mine to one of the lowest levels.
Well, I find farming as a stroke hobby income very relaxing, in that it's entirely different from my normal day's work. You come home in the evenings and it's because it's entirely different. And the animals are a great reward because we as a family take great pleasure in looking after animals, and we look after them as part of the family, I suppose. And we don't mind getting up early in the mornings and working long hours to keep both things going. We have our holidays like everybody else. We don't go abroad because you can't stay away too long from animals. But having said that, there is great reward in bringing calves into the world. It's made up quite nice, isn't it? Be a bit unusual with a short tail. Seen the fox had his tail.
From cattle to mill, Dick's life is echoed over the centuries. Many before have combined farming and mining in case one failed. Now, though, Crofty's bubbling tin is a rare product, the only Cornish variety left. It's a potentially rich source, waiting for the world's tin stocks to diminish, so that it can be a money spinner again.
Although it looks like a Cornish gunge to a lot of people, it is in fact where the profit is actually lost in made. Basically speaking, we add reagents to the section, which is something like the froth that your wife may use in their washing up liquid. Yeah. And the considerate was actually the tin, then latches onto the bubble, and it floats to the surface. But I mean, you can actually pull it off. If you put your hand in that, you can actually feel. If you do that a minute, you can actually feel the concentrate.
Yeah, you can.
You can feel it ever so slightly rough. Yeah. I mean, it's harmless. I'm not saying you shouldn't wash your hands maybe before you have a meal, but it's actually harmless.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there untoward, like, you know. In layman's language, it doesn't always work so easy as I'm trying to explain. Sometimes your effort is greater than your progress, which is very much like life is generally.
It's a rocky road for South Crofty, with prospects in the hands of outside interests. The managing director stays calm.
We've always got to be worried when we're losing money. When the price dropped as quickly as it did over these last fortnight, where it dropped nearly £1,000 a tonne in literally 7 days. That is an extremely difficult thing to come to terms with, but it's like most things. We've seen all sorts thrown at us. It's another one of those things that are thrown in. We've then got to relook at everything, and we've worked out a plan as to how we're going to go forward.
Good morning, showgoers, and welcome to the Royal Cornwall Show. Particularly warm welcome to the cattle lines. The weather may be cool, but the competition here will be hot as usual, and all the public in the showground are very welcome to come and admire the livestock that these farmers have turned out.
Morning. You have long days and short nights up here. You know, especially if you get on an old whiskey bottle in the evening. But having said that, you've got to keep off the whiskey bottle the night before the show because you've got to have a clear head and have your wits about you for this job, because there's always someone trying to knock you off your podium, especially when you've been there for a day or two. As a family, we're quite fortunate that everybody, you know, takes part in it. Even Debbie, the young one, she does her bit. She looks after the calves, and she's got one little special calf here, the heifer. She's been pulling around for a day or two now. And the son, although he's working, he's heavily involved in it. Unfortunately, see, you've got to have a job to keep this lot going. You can't do this job like out of your back pocket. I tell people there's no shame in being hard up, but it's inconvenient. So you've got to go to work to earn the money to carry this job through.
We have the first result of the day here from the Hereford Ring, and first prize went to Mr. and Mrs. D. Pollard with Paul Shipe, and he made the 8th. second, Messrs RS and AS Johns with Debley Patch. And third, number 292, Mrs. RS and AS Johns again, with another cow there, Debley J.
Yeah, want to put yours on.
On a hill near Camborne, the man who developed Crofty also indulges in a little philosophy.
I like being up above ground in the allotment because it's nice to get out up in a bit of cleaner fresh air after being underground for a long time. The hardest part of the mining career is when the old tin price dropped in '87 and the mine just sort of dropped away. Half the men were gone. And we didn't know if we was going to be there next year. That was the hardest bit, because I know that we're not into the high financial side of the top end, but you think that your livelihood and the way of life that you've led all your years, you might just suddenly just change, just overnight, just like that, bang. So that was a hard time then, but we sort of gone by that now and we're going on again.